Warzone Mobile has disappeared completely, but it left behind a community that's still looking for a game close to that mechanism and experience. Ever since then, every few months later, another trailer starts making the noises. A new project promises console-quality graphics. Someone claims they've built the next Warzone Mobile, and for a few days, everyone starts asking the same question. Is this finally the game we were looking for? But here's the reality. Most of these projects never make it past the hype. Some disappear without a release date, and some never receive another update. That's exactly why making this video wasn't as simple as putting together 5 random trailers. Instead, I looked for projects that are actually trying to push the genre forward. Some are being developed by passionate indie teams. Some are aiming to recreate the military experience that Warzone Mobile fans have been missing. Now, before we get into the list, you must have heard about Chinese Warzone Mobile drama, and honestly, I get the excitement. On the surface, it looks and sounds like an amazing plan. At least someone is trying to bring that experience back. But once you look beyond the gameplay, that's where the questions start. Who's running the servers? How long will they stay online? Will your account still exist a few months from now? All your hard work and efforts you put into that game, will they even stay? Or you're just going to play for fun and experience? Honestly, in that way, everyone would get bored. And on top of that, you have to pay for servers with still having some security concerns. An unofficial ecosystem that doesn't really promise anything for the future. If you're jumping in out of curiosity or just want to experience, that's completely fine. But if you're looking for a game to genuinely invest your time into, I'd be a lot more careful. So instead of gambling on projects with an uncertain future, let's look at the games that are actually worth keeping an eye on. Kicking off this list is Havoc Frontline 1942, and I know this game is not supposed to be in this list at all, but I genuinely wanted to cover this ongoing small project. It's probably the most underrated project here, simply because nobody knows it exists. Unlike the other games on today's list, there's very little public information available about the developers behind this project. So far, most of what we've seen comes from recent gameplay uploads, making it clear that the game is still in a very early stage of development. From the gameplay that's been shared so far, the goal seems to be creating a fast-paced action shooter, a large-scale battlefield experience where tactics, positioning, and teamwork takes place. The project currently features World War II-inspired locations like Normandy, Algeria, and Andreevka, open environments and gameplay that feels much slower and more tactical than the average mobile FPS. Instead of overwhelming mechanics with flashy skins, the developers appear to be focusing on building the core gameplay first and gradually expanding the project over time. Now, since the game is still in its early development, there's no confirmed release window, no detailed roadmap, and many features are still likely to change. Every update gives us a better idea of where the project is heading, and if development continues consistently, this could become one of those hidden mobile shooters that slowly builds its own community. Coming hot next is Rules of Engagement and Gray State. Now this one is a little different from everything else on today's list. It was officially revealed by Gray State Studio and is currently in development for PC as a free-to-play title, with release date still marked as to be announced. But guess what's the major thing? It's being developed with Tencent Studio and powered by Unreal Engine 5, coming with full cross-platform features, meaning you can play on console, PC, and mobile. Now imagine how perfect this combination looks. Therefore, we could care less about lags, overheating, and unoptimization. At first glance, you might think Gray State is another military shooter. But the more gameplay you watch, the more you realize the developers are trying to blend multiple genres into one experience. Instead of dropping into a traditional Battle Royale, you're deployed as an elite operative known as a Strider, entering a dangerous zone to search for valuable artifacts, fight hostile creatures, survive encounters with rival squads, and extract before everything goes wrong. It's a PvPvE extraction shooter, meaning you're constantly balancing the risk of staying longer for better loot against the chance of losing everything you've collected. What also caught my attention is the amount of freedom the developers are aiming for. Different classes, weapon customization, RPG-style progression, squad-based teamwork, and a world that mixes realistic gunplay with sci-fi and horror elements. It's definitely not trying to copy Warzone Shot for short, but instead, it's chasing that same feeling of high-stakes combat, where every encounter and decision matters. Of course, it's still early in development, so we'll have to wait and see whether the final game lives up to its ambitious vision. But if you're looking for something that's even closer to the classic Warzone formula, the next project might be exactly what you've been waiting for. Taking the number 3 spot is Project BFA. Now this one is very similar clone to Warzone Mobile, and if you've been following indie mobile shooters over the past few months, chances are you've already seen clips of this game floating around, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. Project BFA is an indie multiplayer tactical shooter that's currently available in an early playable form while remaining under active development. The developers describe it as a fast-paced shooter that combines the precision of a traditional FPS and third-person experience. What immediately stands out is how much attention has gone into the core gameplay. Instead of relying on flashy visuals alone, the project focuses on satisfying gunplay, detailed weapon customization, multiple loadout presets, melee combat, progression systems, and competitive multiplayer that rewards reflexes just as much as raw aim. And while I wouldn't call it a perfect replacement for Warzone Mobile, you can definitely see where the inspiration comes from. The military setting, Warzone-like weapons or movements and overall presentation all give off that familiar AAA-style shooter vibe. But considering how much progress has already been made, Project BFA is easily one of the most promising community-driven shooters to keep an eye on. Coming in at number 4 is Strike Team Online. Now, this is one of the oldest indie projects on today's list, and if you've been following mobile shooters for a while, there's a good chance you've heard this name before. Most Warzone-like indie shooters are simplified or look very less energetic, but Strike Team Online is aiming much higher, and almost very close to Warzone or Ready or Not PC game-style mechanism. The project first started gaining attention around 2020, when it was introduced as an ambitious tactical FPS inspired by games like Rainbow Six Siege. At the time, many players were hoping it could fill the gap left behind by Area F2, making it one of the most talked about indie shooters in the community. But then everything went quiet. For years, the game completely disappeared from the spotlight, and many people thought the project is abandoned. But over the last few months, the solo developer behind the game has started sharing development updates once again, showing that Strike Team Online is finally back in active development. The latest showcases reveal completely reworked weapon animations, higher quality character models, a brand new Gunsmith 2.0 system with extensive attachment customization, multiple operators, tactical sprint, gyroscope support, high frame rate options, and even a planning phase where teammates can actually draw strategies directly on the map before the round begins. That last feature is something you rarely see in mobile shooters, and it really shows the direction the developer is aiming for. Of course, it's still an indie project being built by a very small team, so there's no guarantee on when the final game will be ready. But after years of silence, it's exciting to see that the project is finally moving forward again. And if developer can keep this momentum going, Strike Team Online might finally become the tactical mobile shooter that players have been waiting years to experience. And finally, we have the most mysterious project on this entire list. This one doesn't have an official announcement, a clear roadmap, or a known release window. Instead, it's a project that's been circulating through Chinese gaming communities, with gameplay clips slowly making their way across the internet. And the reason it's getting so much attention is pretty obvious. At first glance, you'll notice that many of the weapons, animations, gameplay style, and even some character designs resemble what players have seen in Warzone and Delta Force. Whether those are placeholder assets, fan-made recreations, or something else hasn't been officially confirmed yet, so it's impossible to say exactly how the project is being built. With that uncertainty, there's a good chance this isn't intended to become a full commercial game at all. It could simply be a passion project, a technical prototype, or even a learning project created by developers experimenting with modern military shooter mechanics. Projects like these often show just how much interest there still is in bringing a true AAA-style military shooter back to mobile. And there's a high chance the developers working behind this project could come up with something unreal that actually surprised the community. So for now, I treat this project as something fascinating to watch rather than something to get overly excited about. It could be just a community mod and never become something on its own. So that's the end of this listing, and let me share my honest opinion for a second. None of these games are guaranteed to become the next Warzone Mobile, but what makes all of these projects interesting is that they're proving players still want this kind of experience on mobile. The demand for a true AAA military shooter on mobile hasn't fully completed yet. There's more to come and go. Now the real question, which one of these projects do you think has the best chance of succeeding? Or is there another upcoming game that deserves a spot on this list? Let me know down in the comments because I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.